Evening, folks, and welcome to the shop. If you've watched my past two disc brake conversion videos, you know three things. One, I installed a disc brake conversion kit from Little Shop Mfg. Two, I had a bunch of problems with the generic calipers that came with that and had to upgrade to the Wilwood calipers to get the kit to work. And three, that left me with no parking brake, which is needed for a Pennsylvania inspection, as well as just a good thing to have. Well, I couldn't leave you folks on a cliffhanger, so I wanted to share how I designed and fabricated my own brackets and installed the Wilwood parking brake calipers. Now, I realize this video is long, but I figured anyone actually interested in this topic would be interested in seeing everything that went into getting this done. It was way more work than I expected, and maybe this video can save someone some gray hairs. Oh, yeah, and remember, since you shouldn't take advice related to vehicle safety systems from some idiot on YouTube, this is for entertainment purposes only. Grab a beer, relax, and see if you actually want to tackle this project. Step 1, the beginnings of new emergency brake brackets. Here are the calipers I ordered. These are Wilwood's MC4 mechanical parking brake caliper. Very annoyingly, Summit Racing, even though I ordered black for both sides, sent me black and gray. It's not going to really matter because with the factory wheels, you're not really going to see these. So I'm just going to continue on with these. So here's that steel plate you just saw me bring in. This is what we're going to make our caliper brackets out of. Okay, so my plan here is I'm going to take the Little Shop manufacturing bracket and I'm essentially going to copy the design. So, you know, it's going to be the same bolt pattern and everything. So I'm going to figure out exactly where I want this thing. And based on the design, so your emergency brake cable is going to attach here to pull this lever in. Based on that, it would actually be ideal to be where the existing caliper is. So that's obviously not going to work. So I could go something like that. Our other possibility would be to put it somewhere like about here. And then your emergency brake cable would come down like this. I think I actually really like that better. Okay, so working on figuring out what this bracket's going to look like so that I can get this thing into the right location. So right now, the rear discs on the truck are 1.04 wide by 11.75 inches in diameter. So I've got the Wilwood diagram. So what we want to look at is the mounting holes. That is measurement A, bolt circle radius, so come over here. A for 11.75, so that's 5.98, 152 millimeters. All right, so that's telling us exactly where that caliper needs to be so that it's not touching the rotor or anything. Next critical measurement is our mounting bolt center distance. So that's 4.75 inches, 120.7 millimeters. All right, I think the most useful thing to do here is just going to be to draw this out. So basically we're copying, we're mounting into the same mounting holes. So we know that we need this circle. Okay, and then we know that our bracket's gonna come this way. So we need to find the exact center of this thing for all of our future measurements. So I'm gonna do that using the old square technique. So just take your square on the inside of your circle, line the point up along the edge, mark your two intersections, draw a line between them, and then pick a different spot. Do the same thing. There's the center of your circle. Okay, so our bolt radius was 152 millimeters. this thing set and get those drawn. Now we need to decide, where on this arc this is going to be positioned. So back under the truck. So I think what will work is if this mounting hole is at the dead bottom of my center circle, if we just come straight down, that gives me the clearance that I need on this side, because it's not going to be hitting that bracket. I think that's what I want. Okay, so the plan, based on what we just looked at, we're just going to come straight down from here for our 1 bolt hole, and then we'll measure over 4 3/4 inches over, mark the other one, and then we have to design a bracket around that. Seems easy enough. Just to ensure that we're getting this square. A couple of guidelines here. Okay, so there's the point for our first hole. That 4 3/4, and wherever this lines up over here, that's our other one. There you go. So then this will sit about right there. I think that's going to work. So now we just need to draw a bracket that is going to accomplish what we need. So essentially I want a mirror image of this. So I need to decide what my shape is going to be down here, because this bracket's going to be on the outside of this. So it needs to kind of have this same basic shape. Okay, so we need to design our bracket so that it's lining up with these holes while also kind of matching this general contour. Okay, so what I'm thinking, seems a reasonable start. Apparently we're getting some weather. Something like that. Now if you're wondering, how's he going to cut this out of this 1/4 inch plate? I'm also wondering. Doing a little test fit on this guy, and it looks tight but good. So I think we're all right. Now we're going to transfer this onto metal. Hopefully the lights stay on. Let me make sure I get these holes marked precisely. Now I think what I'll do, because I've got that other bracket where all these holes line up, I'll just use it in a transfer punch to put that in at the end. And then for these guys, all right, let's get after it. Okay, took a little off here. All right, that should be about something like that. Well, let's drill some holes. Well, if you're an idiot. Okay, so we are essentially ready to bolt this to the truck and see if this is all going to work. Problem is, I'm going to need some bolts before I can actually do that, because I've introduced an extra 1/4 inch of material. I need a 1/4 inch longer bolt. So I also need the bolts that will fasten here, and these are also 3/8 by 24. So I'll order some of those. We'll get those in, and then we can do a test fit. All right, so putting this stuff together, it goes spacer, bracket, and then it would go brake line bracket, but we're gonna go new bracket, then brake line bracket. Let's see how these line up. Fingers crossed, folks. All right, so this should go something like this. A larger gap than I would have thought. Good news, they look lined up. They do look lined up. I just was not anticipating that much of a gap. Okay, so this is the distance, 1 5/32 to the inside of this bracket on this side, passenger side, which would be the distance to the outside of the bracket that this is bolted next to. 1 5/32. Let's see if that's the same on the other side. You would think, okay, yeah, it's pretty much identical. Teeny bit different, but could have also been from where I was measuring it. Okay, so my guesstimating on that distance was off a little bit. It doesn't really matter, because all we need to do is put a spacer in there to close that gap. I was just thinking that the gap was going to be less distance than it is. When I was eyeballing things, I was thinking this gap here to here is going to be like 1/8 of an inch. So turns out that it is 25/64. That's what, 13/32. Well, we need to go the other way. So it's 3/8. Okay. So off by a little bit. So I just need to make a 3/8 inch spacer to bridge that gap. Hey folks, so to make these spacers, we're just going to take this piece of 3/4 inch rod, and we're going to start with a 1/4 inch pilot hole through the center, and then we'll come back with a 3/8 inch, and then we'll be able to take it off the lathe at that point, cut it into 3/8 inch sections, and that will give us our spacers. Okay, we need to bump up to a 3/8 inch drill. Four spacers, ready to go. Maybe. Let's see how we did. We had a gap here of, I think it was slightly over 3/8 of an inch, which means I did all right on my spacer. So I had to upgrade to 1 inch hardware instead of 3/4, since the distance was further than I had thought. And so I've got a little play in my pads, which is fine. The reason that's fine is that as soon as I pull, if I simulate pulling the emergency brake, it's squeezing those pads in. Now I don't really have any play. So if I were to crank down on this, well,
Obviously that's not a real test, but it's encouraging. That's the next thing, is to mount the wheel and actually make sure that we've got clearance on everything. No rubbing anyway, which is cool. The emergency brake caliper appears to be clearing, only with the narrowest of margins. Let's just turn this thing and make sure we don't hear anything. Activate the emergency brake. Yeah. I don't know. I'm actually starting to get optimistic that I might have gotten this right on more or less the first try. Which would pretty much be unprecedented. So, all right, we're going to take this apart and make another bracket identical to this one. Well, folks, as you can see, test fit on this side is done and all seems well. I do need to throw the wheel on here real quick just to make sure. But the next challenge really is hooking up our brake cable. So this hole here is too small for the existing, actually I don't know what you call these things. So I'm hoping that the difference is small enough that I can just drill that hole out a little bit. So we're gonna need 17, 30 seconds opening. Currently got a 1/2 inch. Should be able to take an extra 30-second off of this without ruining the strength of this component, because that's only a 64th off of each side. All right, let's go grab a drill bit. Yes, I am just as curious as you are about how exactly this is going to turn out. We are going to have some cleanup to do here, and annoyingly, that bracket is too thick for the little barbs that stick out. So we're actually going to have to cut those barbs down as well. Okay, got those tabs cut off to the appropriate length, I think. I just used a Dremel with a little cutoff disc. I don't think that's going anywhere. Pull our cable out a little bit. And then I think I'm going to have to build a special little thing to attach this to this. No big deal. What I did, I just milled a flat on this. And then we're just going to put this cable through here. And then the pin with the flat against said cable. And then we can put our stopper back here, and that ain't going nowhere. And then I just need to make my little square stoppers. Okay, folks, so to make those stoppers for the back of the cable, I just have this 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch by 3/4 piece of stainless steel, 2 of them. We're just going to drill a 3/16 inch hole through the center. Okay, so we're very quickly going to chamfer these holes. Maybe it'll make that cable easier to put in. All right, we're just drilling some pilot holes for our set screws. This 3/30 seconds bit, but we'll be upgrading to a 7/30 seconds. Evening, folks. Well, Amazon has come through with our bottoming tap, so why don't we get on with this project. I think that ought to work well. I'll drill the other 3 holes, tap them, and we'll give this a shot. See if these stoppers are going to work.
Well, let's do the other side and see if these are going to work.
Alright, this is the in the garage test. We're in drive. Brake is set. Oh, do we move forward? We don't. Holy cow. I don't know what to say. This might actually be working. Alright, let's go for a cruise. Alright, we're coming to a pretty steep street. Alright, we'll try it on this section first. Oh no. Fuck. Not holding us. Ugh. And yeah, there's no more movement in that pedal.
Well, since we're still having trouble with this adjustment, really only one thing to do at this point. We know the brackets are fine, so I'm going to tear this apart, sandblast, and prime, paint, and clear coat the brackets, and we'll screw on with the adjustment after it's all put back together in its final state.
Okay, some actual good news here. I have working parking brakes. So what I ended up doing, it was just a tension thing, so I haven't done a lot of recording because I was getting so sick and tired of this. I didn't think I was actually ever going to succeed. But anyway, so what I ended up doing was just taking some pliers and just pulling these cables out like as hard as I could to get the tension out of them, and then tightening it down. Obviously trying to get it to the point where it's not engaged the whole time. But so it was just, I guess, extra slack in the line. But anyway, it held on a 16-degree grade, which is a 29% grade, roughly. And PA inspection requires 20% grade, so it is holding. And that wraps up the installation of the parking brakes, and really the full disc brake conversion. I might have lost a little footage there, but there was really nothing substantial after that. So the key the hardest part of this was actually just getting them working and adjusted properly, and that really just came down to making sure that all the slack was out of those arms, and that all of the slack was out of the cables. And that just, for whatever reason, took me a while to get it dialed, but I was certainly working well once I got that done. Was able to get it inspected, no problem, and that truck is actually now sold. I miss it dearly, but free up time and resources for the new truck. So I do hope that this was helpful. Please post in the comments if you learn anything as you're going through your own journey. Oh, I forgot to answer this question. Would I do this again? No way. If I could go back, I would just do a full rebuild on the drum brakes, which would cost, I don't know, $350, $400 maybe, and take like a day perhaps. The disc brake conversion cost me, I'm not sure, but it was definitely over $1,500, and God knows how many hours of labor. So no, wouldn't do it again. But at this point, I'm older, I'm wiser, I did learn a lot. That's invaluable. But no, I would much rather learn the lessons I learned some other way. Thanks for watching. Until next time, farewell.